Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1496B, and today's date is February 12th, 2018, and the title of the episode is The Wet Work Continues, Russian Plane Crash Might Not Have Been an Accident. Let's get into the economic collapse, political, and geopolitical news. Now, we talked about how the FISA memo came out and how the Democrats put out a rebuttal, and Schiff went out of the way to include confidential sources and methods in his 10-page rebuttal, which he knew would require redaction. Now, this is coming from White House Legislative Director Mark Short, and of course, this is setting the stage for the Democrats to say, oh, look, see, they're hiding everything. And they're saying that he did this on purpose. And the reason why they did it is so they can say, see, they're not transparent about the memos. They don't want us to show the memo that we wrote up, and this was done completely on purpose. Now, we can see right now that they're going to take this memo. They're going to take it back. They're going to work with the FBI. They're going to clean it up, and they're going to release it. Now, the FBI did review the Nunes memo and only wanted names redacted, according to Sarah Carter. And we see at this point is they're trying everything they possibly can to try to mess this whole thing up by making everyone believe that the whole thing was made up, that it's not true, and they left out a lot of things. They're hiding things. They're not transparent. And this is all being done on purpose. And the question is, why? Because they're very nervous about what is happening. Because there are investigations that are ongoing right now. They're following the money trails. They're following the paperwork. They're looking and reading the NSA, the records they have, because they have everything that's been going on. Remember, they're using the same exact spy equipment that the deep state used to blackmail individuals. Well, it also captured everything that they were doing. We also see an Obama official saying that I passed Clinton lies to Steele that were used against Trump. Now, a top State Department official who served under former President Barack Obama has publicly confirmed that he passed this information from Clinton operatives to ex-British spy Christopher Steele that was ultimately used against Trump. Now, the former Deputy Assistant Secretary of State for International Law Enforcement wrote that he had a friendly relationship with Steele, the former British spy who was paid by the Washington-based political research firm Fusion GPS to compile the information that became known as the Trump dossier. Steele's dossier contained numerous accusations about Trump, and he took a lot of this information and he passed it along. So he's already out there admitting to this, and we can see that the walls again are closing in on the deep state. And they're becoming very, very nervous. Now, we see the wet work is continuing. Those individuals that might testify against the Clintons, against Obama, against anyone, it looks like they are now being silenced. Now, we had this Russian plane where the whole plane went down. It killed like 71 people. And we see that the Russian government, they don't understand why the plane went down. When they look at everything, they say there was no malfunction, there was nothing wrong with the plane, and they really can't come up with any answers. It's very puzzling. But if we look at the passenger manifesto and we look at who is on the plane, well, there's something very interesting about this. We see there's two different Russians, the chief financial officer of Rosatom, which basically is part of the Uranium One deal. This is Ivanov Vyacheslav and Sergei Milian, who are both on the plane, and they both died. Now, Sergei Milian, he's a Belarus-born businessman who has worked with the Trump organization and was reportedly a key source in the explosive dossier alleging ties between Trump and Russia, and was killed when the flight crashed just outside of Moscow on Sunday. Ivanov, the chief financial officer of Rosatom, the Russian company owns Uranium One, the uranium mining company at the center of the controversial sale overseen by the Clinton State Department in 2013 that gave Russia the right to 20% of the U.S. uranium production capacity, was also on the plane, and he died. And this is very interesting because when you look, you can see their names are here, and this looks like there was some type of wet work. Let's get rid of these two individuals. And how would we get rid of two individuals without looking very suspicious? Well, you could have had them assassinated, but that would look very suspicious because, they would have been shot. They could have been, killed by an attack. They could have been suicided. But that's all very suspicious, and why would they do that? They could have used the heart attack gun, but maybe the Clintons, they don't have access to that. We don't know. Or you can have a plane go down, and it looks like an accident, and these two individuals just so happen to be on there. So it looks like there's a lot of wet work going on. These people are very, very nervous. They're getting rid of anyone that could say anything about them of what really went on, and it looks like this is really happening, and there are many people that are going dark, many people that are dying, and this is all part of it because we can see the walls are closing in on them. And as more and more information is brought out, it's going to get a lot worse for these individuals. Now, they could run because I don't think they're going to want to stand trial, or they can use whatever means they have right now to create an event to distract from everything. And I think this is the move they're going to try to make. Doesn't mean it's going to work, but they're going to try to create something huge. We see out in North Korea, the Olympics are going on. There was some type of cyber attack during the opening ceremonies, and we see right now that Pence, he was out in the Olympics. He sat for the opening ceremonies, and he is saying now that the Trump administration is willing to talk to Kim Jong Un's government without preconditions. And we see at this point, we have South Korea, China, Russia, and now the U.S., where they're saying it is time to speak to the leaders and let's have peace. This is what has been planned. This is what has been done from the very beginning. Everything that you've been seeing was a sideshow because they've been playing to the deep state, to the corporate media, keeping them busy with, my button's bigger than yours. We're going to blast you out of the sky. Behind the scenes, this deal was in process to create peace. We're not going to war with North Korea. The only way we're going to go to war with North Korea or any other country is if the deep state does something. The coalition forces that are part of the deep state, if they do something, they create an event because they're the ones who want war. These countries don't want war. They want their independence. They don't want regime change. They don't want the deep state to come in there and remove their elected government or whatever government they have. They want the people to decide, not an outside force. So we can see right now there is going to be no war unless the deep state tries to push something by having a major event and they're successful in convincing the world that we need to go to war. And this is a very difficult thing. And the only way to do this is actually to maybe bomb the United States or bomb Europe or bomb South Korea and make it look like North Korea did this, or maybe Russia did this, or whatever they make up, because this is what they're trying to do. We also see out in Syria, their push to start an event in Syria with Israel flying in and trying to bomb, and then Syria shooting down one of their F-16 planes. It shows that Syria, they have the ability with the S-300, S-400 missile system to shoot down planes whenever they want. And again, this means that their airspace is pretty much sealed, because if more and more planes try to access Syria, they're going to engage their systems and they will shoot down planes. This is why Putin was out there saying, listen, you need to calm the situation down right now. And he was talking to Netanyahu, and he's saying that you need to back off. We see right now the U.S. Congress is pushing sanctions against Turkey. Now, remember, certain individuals in Congress are part of the deep state, are part of the neocons. They don't like what Turkey's doing. They don't like that Turkey is in Syria. Remember that there was a time that they loved that Turkey was in Syria. The reason they don't like Turkey in Syria right now is because they're trying to push out the neocons, the deep state, that are in the Kurdish area. Their mission is completely different at this point. The Erdogan is working for Putin right now, and their mission is to push out the deep state, the cabal, out of the Kurdish region. And Turkey is out there saying, listen, we will close the Incirlik airbase in southern Turkey and remove everyone, all these countries, the U.S., Germany, I think Germany's already out of there, and any other country that uses this because they use this base to fly missions into Syria and other countries, we'll just close it all down. So we're seeing the deep state, we're seeing Russia, the United States, everyone's butting heads right now, and they're trying to get something going in Syria. So these are the hot spots right now. We have Syria, we have North Korea, and we have maybe an event here on the ground in the United States, maybe in Europe, because they're going to have to really push their agenda very, very hard to distract from what is coming. And we can see right now with all these investigations, with everything coming out, we can see that the move is to destroy the deep state, to shut them up once and for all, to get rid of their funding. And the only way to do that is to get rid of the central bank. And this is what they're most afraid of. The central bank is most afraid of using a currency that they don't control, because then they can't control the world. They can't control countries. They can't control the people. They're out of luck. So I wouldn't put it past the central banks, the deep state, the neocons, to have some type of an event to push their agenda forward. And I wouldn't be surprised if they try something very, very soon, because we can see at this point that as time goes on, the Trump administration, the patriots there, they're gaining more and more control, because you can see by their messages, they're not afraid to come out and say, listen, you know what, forget about all this talk about North Korea that we're going to bomb them. We're ready to have talks. There's no preconditions. They already agreed to a ceasefire. This was the both sides pausing, both sides freezing. This was China and Russia's plan, and the deep state was kind of duped into going with it. And we can see right now that they're not afraid at this point to say, you know something, we want talks, we want peace, we want diplomacy. And as time goes on, you're going to see they're not even going to have the message of war or firing back or bringing troops in, going after Iran. All that's going to completely disappear as they gain more control. Maybe the corporate media will still mention it, saying that North Korea is going to have a missile at, they'll develop one at any second and shoot it off and hit the United States. But that's completely fake, phony, and false. The only way there's going to be a missile that is shot off from the area of North Korea is if the deep state or the coalition forces actually do it to start a war. But at this point, we can see the whole thing's breaking down. And we can see that the only thing they have left is one gigantic distraction, because I don't think these people are going to stand trial. I'd be very surprised if they're brought in and they're sitting in front of the world and the American people standing trial for all their crimes. I don't even think they will even allow this. They'll either kill themselves, they'll run wherever they can run to, or they'll have a distraction to try to create chaos so everyone forgets about what just happened here, and they'll just scurry off to someplace else. And that's what I think they're going to try to do. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.